Hola, soy Lola, and you're listening to the 3 Count Podcast.
Everybody, to another great edition of the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering the Ring. I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, and I am the one that's leading you on this expedition because that's what I do. I lead us through this journey of finding our way through the business because that's what I like. I like to do this because I'm still young in the game too. But this is not about me. This is Now Entering the Ring, which means one thing. We have a special guest for you. You can find this person at CLW, AWP. By the way, if you don't know, Cactus League Wrestling. Yes, we were talking about that, CLW. You can find her at Independent Pro. You can find her in Colorado Springs Wrestling. And, you know, I've seen her go everywhere from Arizona to Texas and back up all through the Midwest. It is crazy. She has her own YouTube channel. You can find her. She's right here in the chair. Give it up for the Gypsy Mac.
Hey guys, how are you today? How's everything going?
Doing great. Thank you for coming on the show first.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love doing podcasts, so I'm always looking for new ones to hop on.
Hey, well, good. You found the best one. That's one way to tell everybody. It's like,
yeah, I'll let everyone know it's the best one.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, like I said, one, thank you for coming on the show, but let's get into these questions. So, one, I want to know, who is Gypsy Mac?
So Gypsy Mac is a witch fortune teller that works with the dark side to get what she wants in this industry and take names and get all the gold that I can because gypsies love their gold.
It's funny because I may know another witch who sits on the good side and she likes to battle too. So that's awesome though. Like, what inspired that character to be manifested?
So I've always liked the darker side of things. I've always been into metal music, horror films, witchcraft, spirituality. And, you know, like in my personal life, I do believe in like tarot cards and spirituality and stuff. But then I thought, well, it would be so much fun if I was just a dark character and just played up that angle and I'm just a total witch.
I like it. I like it a lot. That's cool. That's very, very cool. So then, like, all right, so you've made this character, right? And you've like developed it and you've got it put together. But how did you find your way into the business?
So I've loved wrestling ever since I was a little girl. I grew up watching it with my brothers, my family, my grandparents before that were huge fans. So I used to be a bigger girl. I lost a lot of weight and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm at this point in my life where I should just go after whatever I want. So I contacted my really good friend who is Gino Told You So. And I was like, hey, can you point me in a direction for me to train? And there was a couple of schools out here where I'm from, which is in New Mexico. And none of them wanted to train me because I was a female. And I had a lot of issues trying to find a school. And finally, I was like, whatever, I'm going to move to Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm going to go to the FSW school out there. I kind of already had my mindset on it. And then Gino talked to me one day and he was like, you know what? No, he's like, why should you move? He's like, let me see what I can do. And he opened up Off the Ropes and I started with him about 2 years ago.
FSW, that's what Cody Cutthroat, right?
No, that one's with Sin Bodhi.
Oh, yeah, Sin.
Yeah.
See, yeah. I've been like talking to a lot of different wrestlers and I'm from Baltimore, so I'll just like kind of be with the transparent part. So I'm still like learning all like the indie scenes and like putting things together and seeing the places. So yeah, it's very interesting to see like everybody who shows up and does something and then you like run it and you probably attest to this, like how small the wrestling world is because you're gonna know that person who knows that person. You're like, wow, you're only like one step away from anybody.
Yeah, it's crazy how small like this wrestling world is. Like my first locker room, there was people that I was watching on the indies already there. And I was like, oh my God, like I wasn't expecting to go into a locker room with like these people already, but here it is.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You know, like I was looking up your database and stuff and I saw that like you had worked a match with like James Ellsworth. So it was kind of crazy to see.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't expecting to go into a locker room and work with like people that have been on TV. And it's kind of funny. My first debut match was with Amber Nova. And she's now like making her debut on AEW, which is just so small of a world, so crazy.
That is very scary. And yeah, that's awesome though, because I wouldn't know what to do if I got to work a match with a guy who or a person that was like on AEW. That'd be wild to me.
Yeah,
Like, the
it's
future
pretty
of
crazy. Like
guest.
like Christian Casanova, I worked a show with him. Roland had a match with him who we were talking about earlier, and now he's like signed on NXT. So you never know when it's going to be you.
Right. Actually, I was watching. I saw because Christian's like well known in the Northeast, and I saw him like on NXT, and I was like, oh look who's looking really good as a security guard nowadays
Yeah.
for KOR. I was like, that's awesome. It's cool though. Like I genuinely like when I see people like I've worked with people that I know, I genuinely pop about it. So it's like, whether it's like we mentioned, right? James, Amber Nova. I know like I've done interview. We were both just talking about Maddie Winkowski. Like just it's just crazy to see. And like you said, like you're always one step from that person who worked with another person. You're just like, man, I don't understand. But aside from all this crazy stuff about connections, I'm very curious about like what's been the worst bump you've ever taken?
The worst bump I ever took was probably at training, just because we go over so many different things. And it wasn't even a bump, which was sad. Like, because all of my bumps haven't been that bad. It was snap mirror. I wasn't ready and my head just got DDT'd into the mat. Yeah, so that was probably the worst. Like bumps haven't been that bad. I haven't had anything too crazy.
I could imagine like getting DDT'd into the mat like
Yeah.
unexpectedly.
I was so pissed when I got up. I was just like, dude, and he's like, I called it. And I'm like, yeah, but you called and slipped. But accidents happen.
Oh yeah. I can tell you I can share one here and I know like some of our listeners will be like, "Oh, I remember we were talking about this." I was learning to take a power slam and my friend was learning to give a power slam. So we were like both really not sure about how this was going to look. And as he caught me, he took me over and I scorpion into the mat, feet over the top.
Oh no.
And everybody was like, "Are you
Yeah.
okay?" It was funny though because everybody was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "So should I have jumped?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, let's do it again." And I just ran, hit the ropes. Like he didn't have no time to like think about like, "Do you want to do it?" I just ran, hit the ropes. He had like, "Oh God, take me over."
Yeah. That's funny because that's one of my favorite moves to take, actually. I don't know why. I love taking running power slams. Like they just like they feel cool. I don't know.
No, you're right. When we got it right, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is definitely worth doing it again."
Yeah. It was worth scorpion yourself.
Yeah. I was
I
like,
did forget I did scorpion myself once off the top rope.
"Oh."
Yeah, my practice match was going perfect. Like everyone was so into it. I went to go do my splash and I completely missed the guy because I pulled him too close to me and
Mm,
I scorpioned myself from the top rope.
damn.
Yeah, that sucked.
That's something a lot of people don't realize is like placement. Like placement matters like a lot. I remember I was making fun of so I was watching it because it was when Daniel Bryan had just came back, right? And Shane McMahon was looking at Cesaro and he kept doing this thing. And I was like, he totally just told him to scoot over so he could hit the shooting star press. And I was like, he just couldn't do it. And then like I recently just learned a new move and I was like, I did almost similar thing. I was like, yeah, I was like placement matters.
Yeah, like, and I forget that I'm small. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna totally need him way over the no, at all.
That's awesome. So tell me, aside from like the worst bump, like what's been one of the hardest hits you've taken?
One of the hardest hits I taken was at my first battle royal. I was the only girl, which I'm kind of like used to, but one of the guys came up to hit me and I wasn't expecting it and he clocked me right in the nose and I like got my eyes started like getting teary. Luckily I didn't bleed or anything, but I like couldn't see for a while, so that was kind of like scary.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's rough. I hate that
Yeah.
feeling. That's like the worst because you're like, everybody's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, I'm not trying to cry. I just face."
You're all, I'm not in so much pain, I'm crying, but I'm just crying.
It's a
Yeah.
natural reaction. I got this.
Yeah. He was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" He's like, "Are you crying?" And I was like, "No."
There's no crying in wrestling. There's very much.
Yeah.
There's no crying.
I was like, "Is my nose crooked?" I was like so concerned that he broke it. That would
I've
have sucked.
Yeah, I've been punched in the nose a couple times. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just curious, right? So we can stop talking about the worst things we've had. Um, After the match, I know most people won't eat before they go like to a show, right? But obviously they're gonna eat afterwards. So I've got to know, like, give me your favorite post match snack or your favorite post match meal.
Ugh, I'm so fat. I hate answering this. I love Taco Bell. All the boys are always like, "Oh, we gotta go take Gypsy to Taco Bell or she's gonna freak out." And I was like, "Yeah, pretty much."
Oh, and you would love riding with me. I was like, that's my stop. That's my stop.
Yeah, everyone's always like, "Oh, we have to go to Taco Bell." So I'll just start riding with you from now on.
Bad. You know what's funny is especially now because I'm gonna put Taco Bell over, but Taco Bell lets you do like the custom $5 boxes now, and I'm like, what? I need that in my life. Like I'm all about this.
Yeah, that's my favorite place. Like I like it's not healthy probably after a show, but I'm just like, "Mm, it's what I want."
I was like, listen, when I was in the military, that was the option. Like, I tell people all the time. I was like, you'd leave a bar like 3 o'clock in the morning. What's open? Taco Bell. We're going right over there.
Yeah.
I'm not
And
even
then I
gonna
do have to give a special shout out to Canes. We don't have one where I live, so whenever there's a Canes around, like we always have to stop there.
I've never heard of Cane's.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's chicken like strips. They're so good. I love
Okay.
them. Yeah, it's mostly I think in like Arizona and Texas area. We don't have one in New Mexico, which is funny because we're like right in between those two states.
I might, you know what? I think when I go to Arizona and visit, I'm gonna have to make the special trip. I'm gonna figure out what this is.
Yeah,
I'm
you need
definitely
to go.
going. So aside from that, I'm just very curious. Like, what kind of advice would you give to like up and coming wrestlers?
My biggest piece of advice is it's a lifestyle. Like I wake up, breathe, sleep, think like wrestling is my whole life all the time. Whether it's like, oh, what new gear can I come up with? Like, what can I come up with for a new promo? Oh, like I need to put out new merchandise. It's just always on my mind. And a lot of people I think don't realize that.
No, that's great advice. Actually, I think that's you know what? I definitely know because definitely that was a Gino thing.
Of
I've
course it would
definitely
be
heard
his
that. I
thing,
was
right?
like, I know I've heard it before.
Of course it would be from him because he's around me 24/7 pretty much.
Hey, if you know what though, like we can put him over really quick. Like when you need someone to like ask advice from, like he's there. Like he's when he talks about living the wrestling lifestyle, like that's Gino, and I'm just like I'm very much appreciative that I got to meet him and talk to him, and someone who's gonna be there like to help mentor me and stuff like that. I'm very appreciative that I found someone like him. So yeah, big ups to him.
And like every locker room that we're in, he's always telling the guys, like, hey, if you need anything, let me know. And it's true, like, you can always go to him for anything when it comes to wrestling. Like, I'll be texting him at like 10 at night, and I'm like, hey, sorry, but like, I have this idea. Like, you can just never bug him.
That's it's funny because I think one time on his page, I saw on his YouTube page that he'd shouted us out, and I was like, oh, and took a screenshot and I sent it to him. But I'm on the East Coast, so it's like 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, and then I got a response from him like 10 minutes later. I was like, bro, I'm so sorry about this. I was like, that's embarrassing. Oh man.
Yeah, he's always grinding.
He really is. He really is always grinding. Wow, look at that. I just switched over to a different camera. That's weird.
Well, hey,
Like
the
you think
technology.
I know two different cameras is wild. Um, All right. Well, so aside from like big advice that you would give, and obviously it being like, you know, the lifestyle, give me one do and one don't of the locker room.
One do is always shake everyone's hand. Always make sure like you go up and talk to anyone, even if it's like your thousandth time seeing that person. Just make sure you go and talk to them because you never know if they're going to be like, oh, Gypsy didn't talk to me today. She might be mad and like create heat in the locker room.
Mm, I hear that a
And
lot.
one don't is I'm totally against like drinking and stuff like that in the locker room. I think it's just very unprofessional. And I'm not going to want to get in the ring with you if you've been drinking. And I've seen that at a couple of shows, which I think is just like crazy.
Yeah, you said drinking at shows, like that's wild. Like I would never think about that. Like that's crazy. Yeah, and I don't want to
Yeah,
be in
and
the ring with someone that's like, you smell like you smell like straight Jack, bro. You gotta go.
exactly. Like I've been, not like severely injured or severely like hurt, but there's times where accidents do happen. Like I said, with that whole snap mirror incident, like what if someone's drunk and they're in control of your body? Like that's just so terrifying to me.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's insane that to think about something like that. That's crazy. So that's kind of it for my big hard hitting questions. Just very curious though. We do have the second best segment. People often ask what is the first. It's the Red Dogs Power Rankings, but let's get into the second best segment of this podcast, and that is the 3 Count Podcast 10 count questions. Here's how it works. I'm gonna ask you 10 questions, rapid fast. So whatever first comes to your mind.
Okay.
You ready to handle it?
No, I hope I don't say anything stupid.
You would be surprised what has been said
Probably not.
on. So let's put on an imaginary timer. Bing! And here we go. SmackDown or Raw?
Raw.
Favorite movie?
Halloween.
Oh, bet. Which Halloween?
Oh,
There's a follow-up question. It's not really a second one.
I would just have to say the OG one or the Rob Zombie version.
Okay. Both are correct to me. um, 3 things that you would take with you on a deserted island.
My iPod, my vape, and probably a camera.
Okay. Favorite animal?
Cat.
DC or Marvel?
Marvel.
Favorite star constellation?
Libra.
Okay. It's a Friday night. What you doing?
Watching SmackDown.
uh, favorite podcast?
Crime Junkie.
That's you know what I love that one too.
Oh, you like Crime Junkie? All right, I like you now. I was skeptical before, but
It's cool. I tend to win people over sometime. Nominate one person you want to see on this show.
bearded lady.
Hey. And last but not least, my favorite question to ask every single person that comes on this show. Favorite curse word.
Bitch.
That's right. That's right. So that's it. That's 10 count questions. So the last thing I just need from you is I need you to tell me where our viewers and our listeners can find you.
So I do have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those are just going to be my name, which is Gypsy Mac, and Mac is MAC. And I also do have a YouTube. That one is Gypsy Mac Wrestler, if you look that up. And I do have a TikTok. I don't really post that much on it, but I have a couple of videos. It's just my name as well.
Bet. And there we go. All right, so that's it. You guys know where to find her. She has all of her stuff out there. And this is the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering the Ring. And as I said, I'm your host with the technical difficulties, Clifford Red Dog Miller. But this isn't about me. This is Now Entering the Ring, and that is Gypsy Mac. So guys, you know what to do. Tune into the next episode and be there, or you just wait until this episode ends and wait for the outro, and then the next episode will play. Peace. What's going on, 3 Count Nation? I'm Clifford Red Dog Miller with the catchphrase. But what I really want to do right now, go to twitter.com, right? Go over there, find us at the 3count_pod, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a comment. We want to talk to you guys. Go to IG at the 3Count Pod. Give us a like, give us a follow, leave us a comment. We want to interact with you. Go to youtube.com, give us a subscribe, turn the bell on, turn the notifications, leave a comment. We want to talk to you. Go to anchor.fm/the 3Count Podcast, and in there, you can leave us a message, and we will talk to you. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that we want to talk to you. We want to have fun with you guys, and we love listening to what you guys have to say. Also, one thing I need you to do for me, the 3Count Podcast also has merchandise. At prowrestlingtees.com/the 3Count Pod. Please go buy our t-shirts. We love you guys, and we hope you love us too. So show us some support, please.